Hello, Internet! Welcome to another episode of the Engram here, exclusively on gkick.net, on iTunes, and of course on YouTube. I don't think I know what the word exclusive means. Anyway, I'm trying out something a little different now, as far as how the video is supposed to go, so if I don't look like I'm looking dead on into the camera, bear with me. I'm trying to get used to this. So anyway, this episode, I want to talk about something really important. And by important, I mean the Dark Below. Yes, the first Destiny expansion has been detailed out a little bit, and pretty excited about that, I must say. So here's some of the details we know about the Dark Below so far. Starting December 9th, the Dark Below will be released across all platforms. It's going to include the usual routine of new weapons, new gear, new quests, new multiplayer arenas, and of course the big major raid and a new co-op strike. So a lot of cool stuff on its way. So let's get into some of the details on it. With the Dark Below, it's going to start off by introducing a new character called Eris, who's going to arrive at the tower and introduce the new storyline, which is basically that the Hive is going to be trying to summon a powerful god called Crota to destroy the Earth. And through the elements of this expansion, which are going to be 3 new storyline quests, the Will of Crota Strike, and the Crota's End Raid, which we had been referring to as the Dark Below Raid, because we didn't really know what the name of it was, so it's going to be called Crota's End. And through that, you're going to find out more about this story. Now, to stop on that element for a second before I get into more of this, the story has always been one of the big things in Destiny that have gotten a lot of complaints. And a lot of people were not pleased with the story and the way it was presented in the original, or the core game. And understandably so, because the story was kind of screwed up, to be perfectly honest. It was not what we expected it to be. But this time around, they said they've taken a lot of that feedback into consideration, and they're going to be presenting this story in a much better way. So, fingers crossed that we actually get something decent out of it. So in any event, with that being said, throughout that, of course, you're going to have a bunch of new weapons, armor, and various gear and things like that that are going to be available to you. Not a lot of details on that yet, obviously so. But that's going to include, of course, new legendary and exotic level items. But it's also going to introduce a couple of great new things. For one, it's going to raise the light level to 32, the maximum light level, and it's going to introduce 5 more bounty slots. Yes! Thank God! I'm so excited. Because there's nothing I have the most trouble with is trying to balance my bounty slots. And then when you get an exotic bounty, now you're down to 4. And it's a nightmare. And this is going to be great. To have 5 more slots is going to make life so much easier. And yeah, there's really just no better way to say it. Like, if I had 1 more bounty slot, I'd be happy. But to get 5 more, that's fantastic. So that'll be coming with the expansion. Additionally, more in the way of PvP. So, 3 new multiplayer maps and modes have been added. There is Pantheon, which is going to be set within a Vex temple in the Black Garden. And Pantheon is going to include a lot of really tight corridors and a lot of very familiar Vex landscapes. You're also going to get Sky Shock, where players are going to be battling in an interplanetary defense array. So you'll have vehicle and infantry engagements in this particular map. And lastly is a mode called Cauldron, or the Cauldron, which is going to be basically within a Hive ritual site. So a lot of tight quarters combat and stuff like that in there. So this should be a lot of fun. These maps sound pretty good. Looking forward to seeing what those are going to be like. And additionally, if you play on the PlayStation platforms, and that includes PS3, PS4, whatever it might be, we will get access to an additional co-op strike called the Undying Mind. And that is exclusive to PlayStation until fall of 2015. So if you're looking for some great exclusive content, if you are a PS4 or PS3 owner, then you are in luck. Now the Dark Below will be available for $19.99 by itself. It's also part of the Destiny Expansion Pass, which is $34.99, and that'll include the Dark Below, as well as the next expansion when that comes out. So once again, this comes out December 9th on all platforms. Now, let's get into it a little bit more. So, one of the big things I've been hearing a lot about is, of course, concern about the price. $20 for what could be perceived as a fairly small expansion. Like, let's look at it in other comparative expansion pack pricing. So, you've got games like World of Warcraft, and here I go again. I'm going to keep going back to World of Warcraft when I talk about Destiny, because I can pull so many parallels. So, deal with it. If I had sunglasses, then they'd fall from the sky right now, but either way, when it comes to pricing, like if you look at World of Warcraft, their upcoming expansion, Warlords of Draenor, is going to be, I think, like $40, which is typical for their expansion pricing. But that is a lot of content. Tons of new raids, tons of new dungeons, 10 new levels, loads of quests, a whole new zone. It's loaded with stuff, and that's understandably so. That's kind of how they work. This expansion is very much more similar to a World of Warcraft major content patch. A few new things that are just kind of added in. But, and here's what you need to consider. You paid $60 for Destiny, give or take. Depending on if you got it for sale, if you traded stuff in, whatever it might be, you paid around $60. Or at least $60 in value for this game. Assuming you bought it in the US, I know, just bear with me here. You paid what you paid for the base game. You are getting all of this weekly content, all of the ability to play the game and everything, for no additional cost. Whereas with something like World of Warcraft, you pay, I believe when I got World of Warcraft, the base game, it was $50. I think you can get the base game of WoW now for like 20 or 30, something like that. Either way, you get the base game, but then you have to spend $15 a month for the content of the game. So yeah, you get free major content patches, or I should say, content patches that don't cost you anything more, but you're paying $15 every month just for the privilege to play the game. Whereas in Destiny, you're not paying that per month. If you have something like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, you're not paying for that strictly for Destiny. You get a lot of other benefits too. So, I don't count that as a cost you pay for Destiny. Even if you only play Destiny, that's not their fault, you know? Like, if you're a PlayStation owner and you get PlayStation Plus, it's not just for Destiny. You get 6 free games every month, so I don't want to hear it. For Xbox Live, you get free games there too. I don't know, I don't have an Xbox console anymore. But either way, the $15 per month is what pays for these free content patches. Now in Destiny, the base game does really well, but that's covering the cost of the base game. Now, they have to pay for the cost of developing these expansions. $35 for 2 pretty large content additions is a pretty reasonable cost, in my opinion. I don't see that being a problem. You know, I don't know if anybody else disputes that, but I don't see that being like an overly exorbitant price for the amount of content you get and to help supplement and support the game as it continues to develop. Because when you release a game like Destiny, there's a lot of additional cost that goes into it. You know, they have to develop this pretty solid networked world that is going to work and allow players to continue to play. And I know it hasn't been working lately. You keep getting kicked to orbit, but they keep having to work on it and they keep having to fix it. And it takes a lot of money to do that. And yeah, it's great, you know, they're backed by Activision, but the fact is, that's not really enough at the end of the day. You know, you do need to prove that your content is worth money. You do need to prove that this is something that is going to generate interest and generate money so that they can continue to basically say that, yeah, it's worth dropping all of this money into. To keep it maintained, to keep adding new content. And we get new stuff every week, and they keep refining it, and they listen to people, and they keep patching the game, and it's a lot of money and a lot of work. So for 35 extra bucks to get a lot more new content and to further support Destiny, I think that's reasonable. You know, if you don't agree, let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter at @gkickshalthis. Hit me up on Facebook. Links are in the description. But, yeah. That's my opinion on it. So, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. Hopefully this new camera thing is working out alright. Some weird light behind me. I gotta find a better angle, I think. Well, anyway. that is going to do it for this episode of the Engram. I will be back again sometime, hopefully soon, to talk more. But until then, I will see you all next time. Happy hunting, Guardians, and for you folks on YouTube, here it is, your moment of Zen. Catch you later.
Hold on.